Kwani kuna class? Sanga. Ya saa 9. Nimelala basi.
So last week we were talking about purchasing. And the other week we were talking about procurement. I want you to mute your mics. Make sure your mic is muted so that you avoid distraction. Yes, last week we have been talking about Edgar. Welcome, and make sure that you mute your mic. We talked about purchasing. We also talked about procurement. Now today I want us to do something small on facility layout or plant layout. How to do a layout of a plant. How or what happens in a plant layout and the requirements or the facility layout. How do you plan out your facility? And then we'll finally talk about the tendering process and next week, so that next week we can do something else. You realize that in the portal when you are joining, I had already posted your assignment. So the assignment is supposed to be submitted next week. So make sure you access that assignment and be able to submit it next week. I've already put the deadline for submitting, so make sure that you track all the activities of the unit. So today, I want us to discuss about facility layout or plant layout. When we say that we want to do a plant layout, what do we mean by plant layout? Plant layout means the organization, the how you are supposed to organize, how you are supposed to structure your plant, how you are supposed to structure your organization. Plant layout can mean from the design, right away from the design of the factory, the site where the vicinity to the raw materials, the vicinity to your customer or the market. So when you talk about plant location, that is introduction and meaning of facility layout, that is plant location or facility location problem, is an important strategy level decision making for an organization. So one of the key features of a conversion process, that is manufacturing system, is the efficiency with which the products services are transferred to customers. This fact will include, sorry, I want to take this, I don't want to write anything. This fact will include the determination of where to place the plant facility. So the selection of the location is a key decision as large investment is made in building, plant and machinery. It is not advisable or not possible to change the location very often. So once you already chosen that I'm going to locate my business or I'm going to have my business location at this point, having to change or transfer the place or the locality, most of the time it poses some challenges. So when an organization is deciding to look for a location to place its business, it's very important to look at the vicinity or how well the business will thrive in that environment. So before allocation of for a plant is selected, a long range of focus should be made, anticipating the future needs of the company. So the plant location should be based on the company's expansion plan and policy, diversification plan for the products, change market conditions, the change sources of raw materials, and many other factors that influence the choice of the location decisions. That is now. The purpose of the location study is to find out an optimum location, or one that will result in the greatest advantage of the organization. So the need for selecting a suitable location. Now we want to look at the reasons. Why do we need to select a suitable location? Number one, we start when starting a new organization, i.e., location of choice for location choice for the first time. That is, in case of existing organization. Another one, in case of a global location. Now we want to know what are the essential things that we need to know when we are doing this location or choosing of the location. So what are the factors that influence the plant location or facility location? So facility location is the process of determining the geographic site of the farm and its operations. Managers of both services and manufacturing organizations must weigh many factors when assessing the durability of a particular site. So including proximity to customers, suppliers, labor costs, and transport costs. So the location conditions are complex and each comprises of different characteristics of tangible freight production and non-tangible, i.e. reliability, frequency, security, quality. We have to put into context all these things. Maybe you want to set up an office for your company, maybe a power generating company. You have to look at the availability of the resources, like the raw materials. Like for example, you want to use maybe diesel, or you want to use wind as your source of or the main source of energy for your power generation. So you have to make sure that the location at which you are situating your plant must fit the requirements, meaning it has to be reliable and it also has to meet the market demands. The location conditions are hard to measure. Tangible cost-based factors such as wages and product costs can be quantified precisely into what makes locations better to compare. So on the other hand, non-tangible features which refer to such characteristics are reliability, availability, and security can only be measured along an ordinal or even nominal scale. So other non-intangible features like the percentage of employees that are unionized can be measured as well. So to sum this up, non-tangible features are very important for business location decisions. It is important to divide the factors which influence the plant location or facility location. Kasheru can't hear me. What is the reason? Log in again. If you cannot get me, log in again, please. Just log in again afresh, or you can refresh your screen. Refresh your screen. Yes. Are you now? Who is that?
Ole mwana ugiye Saudi aratwira ukore class.
So, Gasheru, are you now getting me? Can I confirm that you are hearing me? Anthony?
Yes.
You are now okay. Yes, the
Yes.
moment you realize you have missed the sound or the audio, you can refresh or you join in again. It is a better option. So we proceed. So it is appropriate to divide the factors which influence a plant location or facility location on the basis of the nature of the organization as, number one, the general location factors, which include controllable and non-controllable factors of all types of organization, and another one is the specific locational factors, which include specific locational factors specifically required for manufacturing the service organization. Location factors can be further divided into two categories. The dominant factors are those derived from competitive priorities, that is, the cost, the quality, the time, and the flexibility, and have a particular strong impact on sales or cost. Secondary factors also are important, but management may downplay or even ignore some of them. So we have several factors that can influence the plant layout. And as I said, plant layout is the location, is finding where best to locate your business. That is, where are you laying your business or where are you putting your structures? So controllable factors. What are some of the controllable factors? We have the proximity to the markets. We have to know that when I'm locating my business here, am I meeting my market demand or I'm very far away from my customers? You have to make sure that your business is next to your customers. Another one is the supply of materials. You have to know that the raw materials that you need, or all the things that you would need, are available next to where you locate your company. Another one is the transportation facilities. You have to make sure that we have road in good infrastructure for you to be able to put your company, so that when you'll be selling your products or when you'll be needing raw materials to come, you'll not have challenges for transportation costs. Another one is the infrastructure availability, labor and wages. Labor and wages is a very important thing again. How to choose the people working in your company. You also have to know well how to locate the and know how much you should pay, the skills, how are you going to get the skills, and how are you going to pay back these people. So external economies is another thing. Then we have capital, so another factor. Uncontrollable factors. What are some of the uncontrollable factors? Uncontrollable factors, we have like the government policy. Sometimes when the government imposes some of the regulations, like now the tax issues, or maybe a hike in price due to the budget if affecting, they are the government policies that cannot be controlled. So you also have to put them into factor when you are doing a plant layout. Another one is climate conditions. Climate conditions are things that are natural, you cannot control. So when you are locating a business layout, when you are doing a plant layout, you have to make sure that you understand well that environment, how it normally works, or what are the weather conditions of that particular environment. Next is supporting industries and services. And then we have the community and labor attitudes. Then we have the community infrastructure. Then we have specific location factors for manufacturing organization. We have dominant factors. What are those dominant factors? When we are allocating where to put factories, manufacturing industries. Some of these factors are: we have favorable labor climate, we have proximity to markets, we have quality of life, proximity to supply and resources, utilities, taxes, and real estate costs. So we explain this one by one. Favorable labor climate. What does it mean by a favorable labor climate? A favorable labor climate may be the most important factor in allocation decision for labor-intensive firms in industries such as textile, furniture, and consumer electronics. Labor climate includes wage rates, training requirements, attitude towards work, worker productivity, and union strength. So many executives consider weak unions to allow probability of union organization efforts to distinguish the advantages. What about the proximity to markets? Proximity to market meaning the distance that you'll take the products to reach the market. Now, after determining where the demand of goods and services is greatest, management must select the location for the facility that they will supply that demand. Now, locating near markets is particularly important when the final goods are bulky or heavy and outbound transportation rates are high. For example, manufacturers of products such as plastic pipes and heavy metals all emphasize proximity to their markets. Now, another factor is the quality of life. Quality of life, that is, good schools, recreation facilities, cultural events, and the attractive lifestyle contribute to the quality of life. This factor is relatively unimportant on its own, but it can make the difference in the location decision. So at times when we are also bringing up a factory or an industry, you have to also look that now what is the quality of life here now, so that you can know how it well fits that situation. Another thing is proximity to suppliers and resources. Proximity to suppliers and resources, it means this is the near the the fact that it is able, or the company can easily get the raw materials that they need for their processes to be effected. One thing is utilities, taxes, and real estate costs. utilities, taxes, and real estate costs. Other important factors that may emerge include the utility costs, that is telephone, energy, and water. These are things that are also very important. So if that area has water, what scarcity of water, scarcity of energy, or even network, it can be very difficult to bring up a company. Local and state taxes, financing incentives offered by the local and state governments, relocation costs, and the land costs. So location models is another one. Various models are available which help to identify the ideal location. Some of the popular models are the factor rating method, the weighted factor and rating method. Then the long distance methods is also that, and then the center gravity method, break-even analysis. So what are the factors of the rating methods? Now the process of selecting a new facility location involves a series of the following steps. These are the steps that you have to go through when you are doing the rating method. Now, number one is to identify the important location factors that we have already talked about, and then rate each factor according to the relative importance, i.e., the higher the ratings, the indicative of the prominent factor. Now, another one is assign each location according to the merits of the location of each factor, and then calculate the ratings of each location by multiplying factor assigned. Yes, Salad.
Yes, madam, nilikuwa nimepotea network kiasi.
Si niliona umepotea, sijui ulienda wapi.
Network tu sasa
Hata Ibrahim hata Ibrahim naona amepotea.
Labda ni network.
Sawa, just mute your mic and continue with us. Okay. Yeah, now we were talking about the factors that you need to consider when you are doing the rating method, and we remember we had talked about the methods of location, that is weighted factor rating method and the factor rating method. So another thing is to assign each location according to the merits of the location for each factor, and then calculate the rating of each location by multiplying the factor assigned to each location with basic factor considered. So find the sum of the product calculated for each factor and then select the best location having the highest total source. So that is a way of locating. Now you want to identify where I want. Assume I want to start a solar plant, a solar power plant. I want to generate electricity using solar. So I'm looking at where I want to locate the farm. I can decide to locate it in Nairobi, but it will not be that a valid idea, that a good idea, because in Nairobi, people are at least not even 99, but let me say 100% of the residents in Nairobi are covered with the Kenya Power electricity. That is the grid electricity. So bringing solar there might not be a solar plant there might not be a good idea. So when you go to the rural areas can be a good venue or a good spot for doing that, because you realize that most of these people in the rural areas have still not gotten access to the grid. So those are some of the factors that you put in your mind before you can select where to locate your business. Another thing is the plant layout refers to the physical arrangement of the production facilities. It is the configuration of departments, work centers, and equipment in the conversion process. It is a floor plan of the physical facilities which are used in production. So according to the more plant layout in a plan of an optimum arrangement of the facilities, including personnel, operating equipment, storage space, material handling, and the equipment and all other supporting services, along with the design of the best structure of the containing of these facilities. So what are the objectives of the plant layout? When we say that we want to do a plant layout, why do we go through all those processes? Why do we have to factor in all those factors? So the primary goal of the plant layout is to maximize the profit by arrangement of all plant facilities to the best advantage of the total manufacturing of the product. So the objectives are listed below. The first one being streamline the flow of materials through the plant. So when the plant is located near the source or the raw materials, then it will obviously, the flow of materials will always obviously be streamlined and be predictable. Another objective is to facilitate the manufacturing process. When all things are easily available, including the labor, the materials, and now the manufacturing process will not have a problem. So that is another objective why we need to do the plant layout. Another one is to maintain the higher turnover of in-process inventory. You maintain a higher turnover, meaning when all these things are put into factor or are catered for, then the profits will be very many. The profit will be very high because there will be no disturbances. The costs of doing these things will be lower and it will be very easy to operate. Another one is effective utilization of men, equipment, and space. That is the labor that I've talked about. Another one is to make effective utilization of the cubic space, and then flexibility of manufacturing operation and arrangement. Another one is to provide for employee convenience, safety, and comfort. So when you get you locate your industry or your manufacturing farm next to where you can get the labor, then it will bring about comfortability of the people working there because they will not be suffering looking for things. And even when they are the utilities and the good life there, that is, we have schools there, good schools, market, and what that would give the residents or the people working on the labor a good environment for them to work. Another factor is the provide minimize the investment in equipment. That one is self-explanatory. Then minimize overall production time. We need to minimize overall production time. Why do we need to minimize overall so that when we minimize the overall production time, it means we produce more, and the more we produce, the more we get into the market, and the more people get to know the product, and it goes. So maintain flexibility of arrangement and operation. Another one is to facilitate organizational structure. We facilitate organizational structure. Now, principles of plant layout. What are the principles of plant layout? The principles of plant layout, one of them is the principle of integration. Now, a good layout is one that integrates men, materials, machines, and supporting services and other in order to get the optimum utilization of resources and the maximum effectiveness. Another one is the principle of minimum distance. That is another principle. That is, the principle is concerned with the minimum travel or movement of man and animal and materials. And then another one is the principle of cubic space utilization. A good layout is one that utilizes both the horizontal and the vertical space. So it is not only enough if only the floor space is utilized optimally, but the third decision, i.e. the height, is also to be utilized effectively. Another one is the principle of flow. A good layout is one that makes the materials to move in forward direction towards the completion stage, i.e. there should not be any backtracking. Another one is the principle of maximum flexibility. There has to be a lot of flexibility. That is, the good layout is one that can be altered without much cost and time, i.e. future requirements should be taken into account while designing the present layout. And then is the principle of safety, security, and satisfaction. So a good layout is one that gives due consideration to workers' safety and satisfaction and safeguards the plant and machinery against fire, theft, etc. Another one is the principle of minimum handling. So a good layout is one that reduces the material handling to the minimum. So those are the basic principles of plant layout, and they make sure that your plant uses the least services or the least resources available. Then, classification of layout. We have layout can be classified into the following categories. We have the process layout. Wait for the next slide. Then we have product layout, combination layout, and the fixed position layout. So what is the process layout? A process layout is the recommended of batch production. All machines performing similar types of operations are grouped at one location in the process layout, e.g., all the lathe machines, the milling machines, and etc. are grouped in the shop will be clustered in like groups. So thus, this process layout and arrangement of facilities are grouped together according to their functions. A typical process layout is shown in this figure. Now the flow path of materials through the facilities from one function area to another can vary from product to product. Usually the paths are long and they will vary. There will be possibility of backtracking. So the process layout is normally used when the production volume is not sufficient to justify a product layout. Typically, job shops employ process layouts due to the variety of products manufactured. So we have there the machines, the welding, the grinding, the inspection, and the assembly. You'll be able to look at this when I give you the notes. Then the advantages. What is the advantages of process layout? In process layout, machines are better utilized and fewer machines are required. That is the process layout, meaning meaning all the machines perform similar type of operations are grouped in one location in the process, so that we cannot have a lot of space and time wasted. Another one, there is a flexibility of equipment and personnel is possible in process layout. And then another advantage is it lowers the lower investment on account comparatively less number of machines in lower cost of general purpose machines. So higher utilization of product facilities is another factor or advantage. Less degree of flexibility with regards to work distribution to machineries and work. The diversity of tasks and variety of jobs make the job challenging and interesting. Now, supervisors will become highly knowledgeable about the function and their department. Limitations. What are the limitations? Backtracking and long movements may occur in the handling of materials, thus reducing the material handling efficiency. Material handling cannot be mechanized, with adds to cost. So the process time is prolonged, which reduces the inventory turnover and increase in the process inventory. Lowered productivity due to number of setups. Another disadvantage is throughput, that is the time gap between it and in and out in the process. That is the time is longer. Those are the advantages of the process layout. Another one is the space and capital is tied up by the work in process. What about product layout? We want to look at product layout. Remember, we are still on the types of layout. So in this type of layout, machines and auxiliary services are located according to the process sequence of the product. So if the volume of the production of any of one or more products is large, the facilities can be arranged to achieve efficient flow of materials and lower cost per unit. That is the specific purpose. Now the product layout is selected when the volume of production of the product is high, such that the separate production line to manufacture it can be justified. So in a strict product layout, machines are not shared by different products. Therefore, the production volume must be sufficient to achieve satisfactory utilization of the equipment. A typical product layout is shown in the figure. So we have now the first step being the turning operations, milling machines, drilling machines, assembling, inspection, and finally the packaging and dispatch. So the product layout advantages are as follows. The flow of product will be smooth and logical in the flow lines. Another one is in process inventory is less. The throughput time is less also. Minimum material handling costs because it's a product layout. And then simplified production, planning, and control systems are possible. Less space is occupied by work, transit, and for temporary storage. Then another one is reduced material handling cost due to the mechanized handling systems and straight flow. Perfect line balancing, which eliminates bottlenecks and idle capacity. Manufacturing cycle is short due to uninterrupted flow of materials. So that is on product layout. The limitations are now there. The limitations are there. Now you can see the breakdown of one machine in the product line can cause stoppage of the machines in the downstream of the line. That is one disadvantage. Another one, the change in product design may require major alterations in the layout. And then the line output is also decided by the bottleneck machines. Another one is comparatively high investment in equipment is required because we need a lot of machines because each product will need a machine. Then lack of flexibility, that is the change in product may require the facility modification. Now, another type of layout is the combination layout. In the combination process and product layouts combines the advantages of both the types of layouts. So the combination layout is possible where an item is being made in different types and sizes. So here machinery is arranged in process layout, but the process grouping is arranged in the sequence of the manufacturer's various types of sizes and products. So it is both process and product. It is to be noted that the sequence of the operation aims remains the same with the variety of products and sizes. So the figure below shows the combination type of layout for manufacturing different sizes of gears. So you can see here, this is a storeroom. This is a storeroom. And then we have the product layout is up there, and then the process layout is there. So with the process layout, according to the process, the machines are arranged, and then the product, they are arranged according to what is produced at that particular time. So the combination layout of making different types of sizes of gears. Now, the fixed position layout, that is the last type of layout. It's also called the product type layout. This type of layout, the material or the major components remain in fixed location, and tool, machinery, men, and other materials are brought to this location. So this type of layout is suitable when one or a few pieces of identical heavy products are to be manufactured, and when the assembly consists of large numbers. So this is a fixed layout now with material, labor, and equipment, finished products being fixed there. Advantages. Now, what are the advantages of this type of layout? The major advantage of this type of layout are they help the job in the enlargement and upgrades the skill of the operations. It also the worker identify themselves with a product in which they are market that they take the market and pride in doing the job. And then another advantage is the greater flexibility with this type of layout. And then we have the layout capital investment is also lower. Now, group layout and cellular layout. Now, this is a trend now to bring the element of flexibility of manufacturing of the system. So these are the types of layouts that you need to know. On group layout, I'll leave you guys to read there. And that is how it is organized. You can see the certain type of product is there as group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4 are there, and the group 5. Advantages are group technology layouts can increase the component standardization and rationalization, reliability of estimates, effective machine operation and productivity, customer service, and then it can decrease the paperwork and overall production time, work in progress and work movement, and the overall cost. What are the limitations of the group technology layout? This type of layout may not be feasible in all situations. So if the product is mixed in completely dissimilar, then we may not have meaningful cell information. Design of product layout. In product layout, equipment or departments are dedicated to a particular product line. Duplicate equipment is employed to avoid backtracking, and a straight line flow of material movement is achievable. Adopting a product layout makes sense when the batch sizes of a given product or plan or part is large relative to the number of different products and parts produced. Assembly lines. They are a special case of product layout. In general, refers to the progressive Okay, Salad, I've gotten you. Now, designing a product layout. How do we design a product layout? In product layout, equipment or departments are dedicated they're dedicated to a particular product line. Duplicate equipment is employed to avoid backtracking. So the straight line flow of materials movement is achievable. Adopting a product layout makes sense when the batch or the size of a given product or part is a large relative to the number of different products. So the assembly lines, these are is a special case of the product layout in a general sense. That is how it looks like. Traditional assembly line where one piece goes to the conveyor and goes to the packing area before another one can come in. Now, procedure of designing a process layout. There's some of these things that I leave you to read. So the first step in the layout process is to identify and describe each work center. The description should include the primary function, the work center, drilling, new accounts, or cashier. Its major components include equipment and number of personnel, and the space required. The description should also include any special access needs, such as running water or the elevator, or restriction. It must be in the clean area or away from heat. That is now how it looks like. Let me just zoom the picture and then I go back. Now, if you have work A, work B, center B, center C, center D, center E, and center F, we have now very high flow, and moderate flow. Relationship of Ibrahim, mute your mic. To minimize transport times and material handling costs, we would like to place close together those work centers and have the greatest flow of materials and people between them. To estimate the flows between the work centers, it's helpful to begin by drawing relationship diagrams. So, for manufacturing systems, material flow and transport costs can be estimated reasonably. well, using historical routes for products or through work sampling techniques applied to workers or jobs. So the flow of people, especially in a service system such as the business office or a university. Following are the most important physical facilities to be organized. Now the factory building, these are the facilities that should be organized in the layout, the lighting, climate conditions, ventilations, and work-related welfare facilities. Now, work-related welfare facilities are now like the washroom, water points, clean drinking water, and even the something like allowances and so forth. So the factory building is the factor which is most important consideration of every industrial enterprise. The modern factory building is required to provide protection for men, machines, materials, products, or even the company's secrets. So it has to serve part of the production facilities and as a factor to maximize economy and efficiency in plant organization or operation. It should be pleasant and comfortable working environment and project the management image and pricing. So the following factors to be considered in the industry building. Now, like the design of the building, the types of the building, the industrial building may be grouped into two. We have the single-story building and the multi-story building. So that is the end of plant layout. And I would like you guys now to break and go for a discussion. Then we come back again after 40 minutes for the last bit, which is the tendering process. Now, before we go to the tendering process, at the break of the discussion, I want people to talk. Unmute your mics and talk to me. Unmute your mics and talk to me. Yes, Edgar.
Yes, madam.
Yes, say something from what we have gone through.
Yeah, we have talked about facility location and layout
Mm-hmm.
and needs for selecting suitable location, factors influencing plant location,
Uh-huh.
whereby we have the tangible factors, non-tangible factors, controllable factors, uncontrollable factors, dominant factors. Then we have the process of selecting new location. Pia tumeongelea objectives of plant layout. Pia kuna principles of plant layout. Alafu kuna the classification. Pia tumedescribe each classification, stating the advantages and disadvantages.
Good. Edgar, you've done a good trial. So I want somebody else to say something, maybe ask a question on the plant layout. And I want somebody to tell me, and we'll be going to the discussion, you'll see the questions that are posted there. I want somebody to say, before we break up, somebody to tell me about now. Why do we have been learning about so many things that are related to businesses. Now today we are talking about plant layout, and we have said that plant layout is the way of knowing how to structure our farms. Where are we going to locate the farms? Where are at which area is best for the farm? So now that we want to know that, why do you think, how is this related to electrical engineering? Where will we apply it? Gasheru, Anthony, can you answer that?
Yes,
Answer that, please.
I can say
Mhm.
we are running about these businesses because
Mm.
after when we finish our course,
Mhm.
we may be an we may be an entrepreneurs
Mhm.
and open our own farms and companies
Mm.
where we need to have the knowledge to control and take care of the farm well,
Mm.
yes, so that it may grow, help us financially and help other peoples also.
Good. It is very important to learn this because you are going to be entrepreneurs. We are training people to be entrepreneurs. An entrepreneur is a job creator. He is a person who can create a job. Is a person who can think and bring new solutions to people's problems. So when we are learning about this, we are learning about plant layout. You're going to find yourself creating a farm or opening a company. When you open a company, the company must have an office, the company must have a structure, the company will have employees. You'll need to know how you're going to pay the rate, the wages, how you will pay the wages, the piece rate and everything, the raw materials, how you locate the raw materials for your farm and so on. So it is very important to know that. Ibrahim, talk to us instead of making noise for us. Ibrahim Dungu. Okay, let me just mute him so that he organizes himself. I saw Peter here, ametoroka tena. Salad,
Yes.
say something before we break up.
I have a question
Hmm.
from next papers.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering, this subtopic has calculation.
The plant layout.
No, the productive moment itself.
What?
I have a question here. Say that two workers engage on
That is under work study. That is under work study.
there is a work study. There is a calculation for working study.
Yes, I'm saying
And-
that question is under work study. There is a topic called
Nakwambia,
work
madam.
study.
Yeah. Bado kuna calculation ya procurement.
Sema basi, inasema nini?
Two workers engaging on a fogging hammer completed in 5 connecting rod each weighing 5 kg. The workers are paid at the rate of
So do this,
800.
Salad.
Yes.
Do this. Type it on the discussion so that we can discuss it there together.
Okay.
Type it there because we are all going to the discussion.
Okay.
Ni sawa?
Sawa.
Gasheru, I hope ulimanage kuingia discussion. Usiseme leo uwezi tena.
Kuingia nini?
Kwa discussion.
Mimi si nilikuwa.
Sawa, tuende huko. Salad paste question yake hapo na mwingine ako na swali and then we discuss there. And I'm also posting some of the discussion things that we need to discuss. So we are going to take 40 minutes and then we will be back here at 4:10 so that we finish on tendering. Tendering is a short slide. It's just a slide with 6 pages. So it is a short one. Tukuje tumalize sasa. So let us go there.